Hello, I'm Terry Moran. We're coming on the air right now because the Miami-Dade Police Department has an update on the building collapse in Surfside, Florida. Let's listen in.
Tragic, devastating emergency. And our people are working around the clock. Our fire rescue team leaving no stone unturned. And we're working with the families on reunification as well as those that were dislocated in the neighboring buildings. And I want to give you a top number, very encouraging. 102 people have been accounted for. That's double what we were able to report last time. So 102 people from the towers. Their locations are known and they are safe. We still have at least 99 who are unaccounted for. And right now at our Family Reunification Center up at the Surfside Community Center, the families are being briefed so that they know which are the ones that are accounted for. So they've been seeking that information, and for those family members of 102, we've been able to provide some good news. For anybody who has information or seeking information, we urge you to use our hotline 305-614-1819, 305-614-1819. We also have assembled a tremendous support system. We have food, we have hotel rooms, we have social services, medicine assistants, chaplains, and the Coral Gables Community Foundation and the Key Biscayne Foundation have joined forces to create a special emergency fund, which is available at supportsurfside.org. So we are here. And then to say, most importantly, I believe, is that I have just signed an emergency order. The governor has on his desk his emergency order, and with that, we will get the support from the federal agency FEMA. The president has pledged that support, and so shortly these orders will go forward, and we will be able to bring, in addition, FEMA federal assistance to this site and to the families.
This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, David Muir.
Good afternoon. We're coming back on the air with new reporting about the deadly building collapse just outside Miami. Authorities about to hold another briefing. The 12-story building crashing down overnight in Surfside, Florida. The death toll rising throughout this day. We have now learned at least 3 people killed, according to sources. What they've now told ABC News, 3 dead, as many as 99 people unaccounted for. Governor Ron DeSantis earlier saying emergency crews had made contact with survivors, which gave us some hope that there was a chance that they would still be able to pull survivors from this wreckage, though 15 hours has now passed since the building collapsed. Take a look at the chilling surveillance, and it is disturbing. It doesn't get any easier to see. This is from the adjacent building, capturing the moment of collapse. Part of the building turning into a cloud of dust in just a matter of seconds. So many people telling us they heard the same sound. At first, many thought it was a clap of thunder. Instead, it was the sound of that building going down. On top of all of this afternoon, they were also dealing with a fire that broke out at the scene on the north side of the tower. Not, of course, entirely uncommon for fires to break out when there are collapses of this magnitude. But of course, you have to think about the hope that survivors that could still be trapped in the rubble, the hope that somehow there were pockets of air, oxygen that remain. And then they're dealing with a fire on top of this. We're told the fire was out. It was flaring a short time ago, but again, they told us it's now out. Some of those unaccounted for, of course, there is hope they'll be found alive. The first call coming in around 1:30 this morning, again, 15 hours ago. The mayor of Miami-Dade talking to reporters moments ago. She did have an update on the number of people who have now been accounted for. Let's listen.
Encouraging. 102 people have been accounted for. That's double what we were able to report last time. So 102 people from the towers. Their locations are known and they are safe. We still have at least 99 who are unaccounted for. And right now at our Family Reunification Center up at the Surfside Community Center, the families are being briefed so that they know which are the ones that are accounted for. So they've been seeking that information, and for those family members of 102, we've been able to provide some good news. For anybody who has information or seeking information, we urge you to use our hotline 305-614-1819, 305-614-1819. We also have assembled a tremendous support system. We have food, we have hotel rooms, we have social services, medicine assistants, chaplains, and the Coral Gables Community Foundation and the Key Biscayne Foundation have joined forces to create a special emergency fund, which is available at supportsurfside.org. So we are here. And then to say, most importantly, I believe, is that I have just signed an emergency order. The governor has on his desk his emergency order, and with that, we will get the support from the federal agency FEMA. The
President Biden late today, as you heard the mayor say, saying that federal support is ready. They are ready to offer federal aid when asked of that aid. That's the mayor of Miami-Dade, Daniella Levine Cava, talking just moments ago with a piece of good news, and we're searching for any good news where we can find it in this tragedy. 102 people have now been accounted for, though, of course, that overwhelming number of 99 people unaccounted for still remains. And one of the reasons they're having such a difficult time in accounting for everybody that could have been inside that building, and I emphasize could have been, we're told the condominium is a mix of full-time residents and part-time residents, seasonal residents, including those who travel south during the winter. So perhaps some were not there. That is a hope, because 99, again, is just an overwhelming number. I want to show you our team put together the before and after, give you an idea of just the scope of the collapse. On the left-hand side, you can see the building, sort of an L-shaped structure, but the whole front end, part of that L, came crashing down. You can see just how much of that building, nearly half of the apartments inside this condominium complex, just destroyed. I want to get to ABC's Victor Akendo. He's just part of the team reporting this out on the ground for us all afternoon here today. And Victor, what more can you tell us from the scene?
David, you just touched on it, on how difficult it has been for authorities to get an accurate count for how many people remain missing or unaccounted for. Another issue here is that they're simply relying on information from neighbors or just word of mouth, making this very challenging for them. This is grim, but there is some hope that perhaps there are pockets in the rubble where some survivors could be found. But at the same time, there is some serious concern here just about the structural integrity of what's left standing of the building. What you're seeing here on the right side, that is just the front part. That is the front half that's still up. It's the back part. You can still see part of it over my shoulder here. That massive pile of debris there. The back half is what came crashing down. We're talking about 55 units now just pancaked into the ground here. And David, the scenes are just devastating out here from this perimeter, where family, friends, loved ones continue coming over here. And as soon as they see this awful pile of debris, they immediately break down. David?
Just a devastating scene there behind you, and I know that's just a small part. And we heard Governor DeSantis say earlier today, Victor, thank you. We heard the governor say earlier that it's actually far worse when you can actually see it in person, the scope, the magnitude of the devastation there. This building was built back in 1981. It was undergoing the process of recertification, if you will, to make sure that it was a strong structure. In fact, we have learned that inspectors reportedly were there as recently as yesterday as part of this recertification. One gentleman who lives in the building with his wife described that thunder sound that I had mentioned, that we'd heard from others. They opened up their condominium door, and it was rubble and debris in the hallway and that giant gaping hole left by the building. There was another who reportedly had previous concerns that construction, those new buildings, those new condo towers that have gone up along the beach, that perhaps they had caused some damage. There were reports there were cracks in some of the pavers surrounding the pool. But of course, all of this has to be reported out, and investigators will no doubt be combing the scene and the people who live there for any potential concerns leading up to this collapse. I want to bring in Steve McGill, who's been with us all day today, Jersey City Fire Chief. He specializes in devastation like this, buildings that have come down. And Steve, you and I were saying it is just not common to see a building simply fall to the ground of this magnitude.
Absolutely not. That's probably one of the strongest construction there is, a Class 1 fire-resistant building. It's made out of poured concrete, rebar, steel. These things normally don't come down. They'll last for a long time. So something dramatic happened that I'm sure they're still trying to figure out. And it may be weeks or months before they find out what actually happened.
And that's the really interesting thing, Steve. You talk about something potentially dramatic happening. There's been no evidence, at least so far, of a sinkhole, which we have reported on in Florida and other parts of the South before. No signs of a gas explosion, at least not yet. Of course, there are anecdotal observations that they'll be getting from residents, one of which I mentioned a moment ago, and all of this will be part of that investigation. But, Steve, we'd also learned there had been some work on the roof being done in addition to this recertification process. But it would be hard to imagine something being done to the roof that could also cause a catastrophic collapse of this magnitude.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, they could have added a large live load onto the top of the roof, which would have put a lot of weight and stress on the structure, and you could have had a smaller collapse in one area. But looking at those videos, it looks like the collapse is actually starting from a lower point. It's really tough to tell from that video. But, something definitely with the structure happened, and it gave way. Gravity, once a building goes up, gravity is fighting. It's fighting gravity all the time, and it wants to come down. So something happened to help that happen at this point in time. So it's tough to say.
Chief Steve McGill with us again this afternoon. Steve, thank you as always. And as I mentioned a moment ago, we have an entire team on the ground. Our coverage will continue on ABC News Live, on abcnews.com. I'll be back with a special edition of World News Tonight a short time from now. In the meantime, for many of you, your local news is coming your way next. I'm David Muir here in New York, and we'll see you shortly.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.